everyone, I want to talk all about stress. And in this video, I'm going to talk a wide variety of topics ranging from attaching your identity to your diagnosis, the fear, why that drives the stress cycle. Watch out for the things that people say things to you to make it believe that you have to always take it easy and take a step back. And it kind of puts you in that position where you're not actually going out there and living life. Why the lifestyle factors are so important, and why it's so important to realize that humans that are going to accomplish anything significant in life and a career and a relationship will eventually experience and feel stress. Stress is part of the human condition. Obviously, chronic stress has a lot of detriments, but there could be learning lessons from the recovery journey. And I want to break down all the myths in between the perfectionistic YouTube channels talking about why we should never experience stress and why this is really kind of just living your life in a box. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below. Let me know about some of the funny, ridiculous health or perfectionistic anxiety tips that you hear on the internet. I like going through those with people and breaking those down. It's very understandable. We're living in a time period where there's a lot of comfort. Many people have heard me speak about this. So we're highly obsessed with living forever. But it's also important to realize that it comes almost at our detriment, to where we're always wondering, always thinking about, oh, how can I avoid this stress? Ooh, I don't want to work too hard, etc., etc. And your life just kind of gets put into a box, especially with OCD. Email info@ocdrecovery.com if you're interested in our webinar and coaching services. So again, I have a list. I've done a little bit more of outlining for some of the more recent videos because Rob has been going back and forth, asking people in the WhatsApp groups and then people in the webinars what type of stuff they want to see us make when it comes to the YouTube channel. And this is something that a lot of people want to hear about, you know, the fear of experiencing stress. So I'm actually going to go to point 2 first, because point 2 goes directly into what actually, perpetuates the fear of feeling stress or experiencing stress, whether in a health anxiety way or anything where the person's afraid of dying, they're afraid of not living the life they deserve or fairness. So it's driven by fear. The fear of being ill, the fear of dying, or the fear of being stuck for the rest of your life in this non-optimal living state. So it's really easy to make a YouTube video with some guy with a face in the thumbnail like this, and it says something like, optimize your life. Those videos are trash. Every single one of them. I've never seen a good one. Even from the most world-renowned people, and I'm talking like leading neuroscientists. They're trash because they are perpetuating a belief system of perfection. And I can tell you right now, the people that make the most philosophical changes in their life, the people that handle real life situations the best, are not people who are trying to perfectionistically live forever and live in fear. They're not. Sometimes they're like more overweight people who are really good at problem solving, and they own 4 or 5 different businesses, and they're good at effective decision making, and they take care of their health. Sure, that's important, but it's not the number one most important thing to them. And it's the people who are like super obsessed about their diet, super obsessed about their exercise, super obsessed about never enjoying a glass of whiskey or smoking a cigar. Those are the people, and I'm not saying you have to do those things, I'm just saying this for an example, the things I like to do, that you're not really living your life. Oh my God, you smoke a cigar once every 3 months. That's so bad for you. Just go back and look at history and look at the things that people went through the majority of the 19th and 20th century, and even earlier 21st century. So it's a big problem. And when it comes to the fear of fear, the reason why it's so instilled by other people is these are the things that Rob and I were talking about that people will say to you. Oh, you should take it easy. Don't overdo it. You really have to be careful. Like right now, you're really fragile. You're not fragile. You could be suffering with the most intense OCD. I don't care what the fear is. Harm, POCD, existential, sensory motor, ROCD, any type of OCD. Pick sign OCD. It all feels as real as it can get to the sufferer. So, and that doesn't make you a fragile person. I talked about this in my recent video, talking about why tone is so important. If someone's speaking to you like a baby, they're not helping you. Speak to the person like an adult. That's the first sign to know if someone is trying to kind of unconsciously, many of the times, they're like, ooh, yeah, just always be easy on yourself. Take a you day. look, I'm all about taking time for yourself. Sometimes I definitely overwork myself in some ways, and I'm like, okay, a couple hours to sit down and even going for a hike to me is relaxing. But there's too many people out there telling you to, oh, take a full day, take a month, take time until you feel better. That time is never coming. The people that achieve the most in their life through a disciplined, actionary steps are the people that go out there and get it done. 80% of the time, I'm not ready to make a YouTube video. I'm not like, a lot of times I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But a lot of times I'm not. I'm like, oh, I had a long day. I don't want to do it, but it's part of my discipline. And I get it done because it's important for me to make content for you guys, no matter how I'm feeling. That is so key. So, still coming over from being sick. Definitely watch out for those things that people say to you. The second thing I want to talk about is dropping your identity to your condition. You're not OCD. Trauma is a big one. Narcissist is a big one. Gaslighting is a big one. These terms that kind of play directly into the victim mentality. I know that's difficult for many to hear, but they do. What really is a narcissist? It's just a person that has belief systems based around selfishness, but we just label them a narcissist. Other people that have narcissistic personality disorder, sure, but is it as common as we say it is? Not even close. Everything today is trauma. Stubbing your toe is a trauma. And people have completely, look, I know this, I haven't said this on the video yet, and I think I want to say it because it goes well in this video. Being sensitive is not a good thing. It can have benefits if the sensitivity is bringing out a perspective of compassion and empathy, but compassion and empathy are not everything about life. Tough love is also important. Stern, discipline, consistency. And when people are very, very sensitive in their belief systems, not as a person entirely, but they have belief systems that intertwine with a sensitive nature, that is really going to hold you back. Really going to hold you back. I'm not saying you have to go out there and change everything about yourself. This is just something to ponder on if this is something that you're doing. So you're not OCD. You're just a person who has OCD and many other things. You might be a father, mother, brother, sister, baker, painter, medical doctor, chiropractor, accountant, lawyer, etc., etc. It's very important to do that. Now, the third thing I want to talk about and why this is so important for lifestyle is engaging with life again. Life is not going to wait for you to get better. It's just not going to wait. So you got to go out there and take it by the reins. Now, I always talk about the standardized lifestyle factors with balance. Exercise, nutrition, walking your dogs, getting outside, socializing, and stuff like that. A lot of people will say to us on the calls, oh, I'm really a homebody, I'm a hermit. Jade used to say this. If you watch some of her videos from 2-3 months ago, she was like, oh, I'm a homebody, I don't like going out, until she realized that she kind of was using that as an excuse. I'm not saying you're doing this. And then she started going out there again and realizing how great it was to actually go out and experience life again. So that's a super important thing to cover. It's something that I just had a hard time wrapping my head around, because I was like, yeah, I like staying home and playing video games. And now I'm like, fuck that. Like, that is not living to me. To me, I want to go out there and do things. I want to hike. I want to go places. I'm going on this like downtown Christmas limo ride thing tonight with Eric and our friends. It will be a lot of fun. So that would be a really good time. But the other thing, the reason, this is something I don't talk about a whole lot, but I do, well, that's not true. I do. When you go out and build your lifestyle factors, it shows you that you can be anxious anywhere. The gym, the hiking, the restaurants, the theater, anywhere, the coffee shop, the business meetings, the workplace. It builds grit. And grit is much more important in a long-term perspective than having these very sensitive belief systems. I'm telling you, they're not doing you any favors. And that's not to say compassion and empathy are not terrific and outstanding qualities to have. They're so important. I was not really compassionate or empathetic, and then waking up to OCD was one of the best things that ever happened to me. The suffering itself, it taught me a lot. So the lifestyle factor is key. And this goes into the fifth thing, which is humans feel stress. Now look, this is just a fact. Playing it safe is it's a very understandable option of life, and most people will take that. 97 out of 100 people, 98 out of 100 people will take every single safe bet in life. That is nothing wrong with that. But if you want more in life, there is more to have. You don't need to play it safe. You can go for the jobs you've never tried before. You could try new things, guitar, piano, violins, speaking a new language. You want to have a third child. You're like, oh, I heard this from a friend. I said, what's the difference between having 2 kids and 3 kids? They go, well, now we're outnumbered. I thought that was so funny. They're like, when you have 2, now there's 3, we're outnumbered. And I have friends that have 5, 6. I have friends, two families I know that have 8 kids, mind-blowing. Super outnumbered, 4 times. So a single mother like Gemma is not, they have to do what is necessary to keep the kid alive. I mean, humans feel stress. There is way to, like, these are the titles to watch out for, okay, when you're on YouTube. The 5 safest foods, 5 ways to optimize your health. Optimize is such a wishy-washy term. There is no such thing as optimize. There are things that can benefit you, but this degree of optimize goes hand in hand with perfection. Hand in hand. And it's so unhealthy for you. I can tell, I can see the wheels turning when I look at people. I think, okay, why are they thinking that? Are they thinking that because they're a little afraid of being sick? They don't want to get a little bit too fat. Oh, they want to be muscular and all that stuff. And that's all great, but it's usually coming from this conditional self-life, other acceptance perspective. So if you see anything titled like, again, 5 worst foods for you, 5 ways to avoid stress, if you want to accomplish anything meaningful in life with long-term determination, discipline, consistency, you're going to be fucking stressed for sure. In and out. I mean, it's just how it goes. It's just part of the deal, You hear me speak about Ray Dalio a lot. You don't think Ray Dalio built the #1 private equity firm in the United States of America or the world? I think it's the U.S. By playing it safe and getting 8 hours of sleep every night? I could tell you he hasn't. I just listened to another person. I'm not saying this is better than other people. I'm just giving you conceptual examples. I was listening to a guy that wrote many books, and he was building a huge business. And, the person asked him, when did you write your books? He goes, I wrote between 12 and 7 a.m. 12, and they're like, what? Did you sleep? He's like, well, it was the only time I had to write books, so I was building my other businesses, and it was multi-national business, so he was flying back and forth. It was crazy. And he goes, no, I slept 3-4 hours. I go back to the office. She's like, wow. Most people can't conceptualize that because the world goes, that's so unhealthy. That's terrible for you. Sure, it's not the healthiest option, but he has a lot of things in life that you don't have, that you probably want. Freedom of time, freedom of money, private jet. I'm not saying these things are the most important things in life, but I hear many people say stuff like, oh, money's not important. If money wasn't important in some aspects, then you wouldn't care about making money. It just isn't the only important thing in life. So people are very black and white on things. And the last thing I want to talk about is the habits. So I wrote this down. Habits shape everything, and then Rob wanted me to say that it's very important to realize that when you come on the call, you're not going to expect to go from all these irrational beliefs and snap into this rational perspective right away. It's not realistic. It's not going to happen. It's very important to cover that. I'm going to give you some of the habits that I do, okay? Because I do like speaking about my habits. I do have a list with 4 columns. I have my business, I have my coaching stuff, I have my personal stuff, and I check them off and cross them off. That list is no longer compulsive for me. It keeps things in check. I have obviously a scheduling programmer, which I use because I have lots of different meetings, but this can be overbalanced if you're over checking it too much, if you're not checking it at all because of the fear of being overwhelmed. It's like a bank balance. Some people are either don't check it at all or they check it too much, right, with the fear of a financial OCD perspective, or any type of money stress. Anxiety. So I go to the gym 3 days a week, lift weights. I do cardio 2-3 days a week, including my hiking. I try to read 30 minutes a day. I'm a member of this business podcast, which I try to watch 2 of those a day. They're like 8 to 12 minutes, so it doesn't take a lot of my time. I try to keep up on other things I enjoy listening to, psychology, World War II. Rob and I were watching World War II in color last night on Netflix. Definitely watch that. Crazy to see it with color. It gives like a whole new depth of meaning. It's fucking insane, is the only words I could use. And I try to keep these disciplines up. How are you to my wife? I love you, even if I'm not feeling in love. I don't base anything. I just try to show commitment in the relationship because I've chosen to be in a relationship that's monogamous. And all these other things that I do to create these disciplinary actions in my life that are not particularly based off the way I'm feeling. And that's super key. Thank you so much for watching this video. Just to recap, I like doing the recaps now. Dropping the identity to your condition. I don't see people make a lot of progress who are consistently playing into that identification of what they're dealing with. The fear is the driving factor, fear being stuck for the rest of your life. The lifestyle problems that people don't engage in, so that low frustration tolerance just simmers. Breaking down all those YouTube nonsense about, 5 ways to stay optimal, 5 ways to live forever, all that stuff. Very perfectionistic, cool to learn, cool to listen to, but usually applied in a very unhealthy way. The reality of pushing through to make real changes in your life. Humans feel stress, and the habits I do to make change. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you're interested in our coaching and webinar services, please email info@ocdrecovery.com. Again, that is info@ocdrecovery.com, and we will get back to you in a timely fashion. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good day.